All right, explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old, okay? Because there's an element to this thing I just cannot get through my thick head.
Well, there's a lot of elements about the New York Giants right now that I can't get through my thick head. This is Tim's New York Giants Straight Talk. Hi, man, like Big Blue LLC. We have the big win in Cleveland. We've said it before. We said it before. It was the tale of two halves, and that should scare some Giant fans going into this Dallas game. I love the fact, though, that some of the New York sport writers and beat writers and other people are prognosticating that the Giants will have more an advantage over the Dallas Cowboys if it rains. And we have rain in the forecast, and I'm going to be there so everyone knows every time I go to a Dallas Giant game, it pours. And then I think to myself, they're going to have more advantage than the Cowboys if it rains. Last time I checked, we got beat by 40 plus in the rain last year. Just throwing that out there, guys. Oh, there are so many things to be excited about after the win on Sunday. There really are. I mean, and but I think at times you have to be realistic and you have to look at this from perspective. The Giants played a great half. They played a great half. The defense got left off the hook a few times in the second half because of the fact that you're playing Deshaun Watson. It was the timely fumble that also helped save the Giants, at that end portion of the game. Daniel Jones went from throwing 170 plus to like another 60 just in the second half alone. They figured out not immediately, but they figured out pretty quickly in the second half how to eliminate Malik Nabers. And if you negate, I mean, honestly, if you want to be honest, in the last three games, the Giants as a whole have played one good half. Plain and simple. You looked horrid against Minnesota. You couldn't score anything against what I like to refer to as a Swiss cheese defense, in reference to the Washington team. And you looked good for a half and then went kind of in the proverbial tank in the second half against a Cleveland team that, yes, has a good defense, but whose offense is beyond suspect. And I keep looking at this and I keep thinking to myself, you got to play a complete game. That's the whole thing. And if you want to do anything in the season, if the Giants want to do anything in this season, they need to win on Thursday. That's it. Plain and simple. If you do not show up and get shown out by the Dallas Cowboys at home, you have to look at that half as like we saw the good second half in the Arizona game last year. I love the people that have the Daniel Jones apology forms already up. Daniel Jones apology forms. And I said to people on Twitter, why don't you apologize for me for having this guy steal $160 million? But no, I thought it was funny. But you have to look at it as a totality, as a complete, as a complete game. You can't keep just looking at halves and hope that we're going to go through what happened last week, because I don't think you're going to reach that point. I really don't. I think you're going to run into a point where you have the Dallas Cowboys reeling off two pretty bad losses. They've given up 44 and 28 points in those losses. I think the Dallas Cowboys defense is better than that. But you're reeling a little bit on these two losses, so you have an opportunity as the Giants at home on primetime to really make a statement for your team and show that the Giants are something special or can at least be something good. And that's what worries me, because like I said, after watching that second, I rewatched the second half. I didn't watch the first half. I rewatched the second half. And I kind of cringed a little bit, because I'm like, okay, well, everything they're doing, just doesn't seem to be right. I don't understand why they're doing this. I don't understand why they're doing that. If you look at the Cowboys offense, one of the things that we are weak against is stopping the run. And you should have no fear of the running game of the Dallas Cowboys. Literally, there should be no fear whatsoever. And I think for the Cowboys to be successful against the Giants, they're gonna have to have some semblance of a running game. They have something. But I like I said, I don't fear their backs. I do fear who I see. I do fear their receiving core a little bit because you got CeeDee Lamb and you got Jake Ferguson, who of course is tight ends, and you have Cooks who's burned us before. And I like Turbin. I know he's more of a kick returner, but I like Turbin a lot. And so you have to look at this from the perspective of you need to focus on stopping the skill position players at the wide receiver and the tight end position for Dallas. And that leads me to believe you can creep a guy back and hopefully stop the Dallas running game with 5 guys on that front, and then drop that extra man into coverage to try to help you out with some of their skill position guys. I mean, I kind of think that might be the way you want to take a look at this and the kind of the way to go, because of the fact I think that, like I said, the Giant, I have no fear of that running game of Dallas. I do have a fear a little bit in reference to their secondary. I do think they have you got Diggs back. Is he playing at the highest level he was before the injury? He's getting back to it. You have who's on the other side? What's his name? You have Carson on the other side, and you still have, I like Wilson at their safety position. You have Parsons. Parsons right now only has 1 sack, and I worry that Parsons and Demarcus Lawrence are going to all of a sudden turn the corner. I like Kendricks, their middle linebacker. What's his name? What is it? Overshone? Is it Overshone? I think his name is the other linebacker on the outside, the young guy. I think he's like 25 years old. So their defense, like I said, I think their defense just has not played up to their level. And you got Joseph. remember this guy Joseph, defensive tackle, 36 years. I can't believe he's still in the league. But you have a good defense. They have a good defense. They just haven't shown it yet. And you hope that they don't show up again on Thursday night. But this is gonna be an interesting matchup. It really is. I laugh because there are some announcers for the Giants that basically made a comment that someone's been saying that that Malik Nabers bailed out Daniel Jones all game long. Everyone's DMing me saying, I think they're talking about you again, Tim. I don't know if they're talking about me or not, but it's true. Malik Nabers bailed out Daniel Jones all game long. Plain and simple. And in the logic of NFL history, no team in their right minds drafts a wide receiver 6 overall to fix their 6-year quarterback. And I had to hear about, what's Kirk Cousins without Jefferson? Okay, what has Kirk Cousins even won? So, yeah, he puts up big yards, but what has he ever won? How many playoff games has he won? How many Super Bowls has he won? I keep thinking about how many of those has he gone through and crushed? And then I keep thinking to myself over and over again, how good was Tom Brady before Randy Moss? How many Super Bowls did he win before Randy Moss? Patrick Mahomes, he pretty much sucked after Tyreek Hill left. that Patrick Mahomes guy is just a bum. Who the hell? I mean, without Hill, he's literally nobody. And if you want to go back a little bit more, I mean, you think about Big Ben. Who was Big Ben throwing to? Who was Steve McNair throwing to? Randall Cunningham. He had 4 10-plus win seasons, won 63 games in Philly. I think it was 63 and 47 without a really great wide receiver. And the one that he had, Buddy Ryan cut because he was an alcoholic and he was on drugs. So we have to really keep thinking about this. Who did Phil Simms have outside Mark Bavaro? Phil Simms threw for over 33,000 yards and 199 touchdowns. throwing the likes of Bobby Johnson, Mike Sherrard, Lionel Manuel, Evan, what's his name? Mark Ingram, Byron Williams, Tom Mulledy. Who did he have? Who did Fran Tarkenton have going to 4 Super Bowls? Warren Moon. Warren Moon made the guys on his team. Michael Vick. Michael Vick had no one in Atlanta. What about the Boomer? I'm not even a big fan of Boomer Esiason. He had Chris Collinsworth that 1 year and Eddie Brown, but Eddie Brown's not a star wide receiver. Chris Collinsworth is not a Hall of Fame wide receiver. And this guy almost beat the 49ers in Super Bowl and won an MVP. Did I mention Warren Moon? I don't remember if I mentioned Warren Moon. These are the things, these are just people off the top of my head. Eli Manning. Eli Manning had good wide receivers, never had great wide receivers. He would have good wide receivers that would have a season like Steve Smith or Hakeem Nicks. But what did these wide receivers do after they left New York? And I believe Eli won. Mario Manningham, good wide receiver. Not great. Victor Cruz, good for a short period of time. Not great. And all these wide receivers' careers went and left and died. Eli Manning made Ruben Randall, outside of that game in Chicago, look efficient. So the thought process that you have to have a star wide receiver for your quarterback to excel is just preposterous. But we need to create this narrative because of the fact that we're just trying to save Daniel Jones. Mr. Jones. And that's the craziness of all this.
Are you crazy? Ow!
Yeah, I'm crazy. What made you think I was sane?
The minute they shut down Malik Nabers, the Giant offense just sputtered. And each week it's going to get harder for Malik. Each week teams are going to just figure it out a little bit more. Teams are going to figure out, you know what? Let's maybe we don't double him, but maybe we just keep the safety on that side. Maybe we just take our best cover guy and just put him on Malik and give him a little over the top safety help. Maybe when Daniel Jones throws high and Malik goes in the air, you have a corner or a safety that he does not see come up and whack the shit out of the guy. Because Daniel Jones was bailed out all day long by Malik. Like I said, that touchdown in the end zone, that was all Malik. That catch on the sideline, that was all Malik. Malik breaking up that that INT. Well, you got to go from there. For people that want to praise Daniel Jones, okay, I said this in the live stream yesterday. You praise him for the first half. Wonderful first half. Great first half. Looked fantastic. 177 yards or whatever it was, 176 yards, but then you only threw for 60 in the second half because the team shut down your only weapon because you have a tendency to red stripe. And the fact that you have targeted Malik 30 times over the last 2 games, and I think the next wide receiver is like 11 times. And that's because I think Wan'Dale Robinson had 11 targets the other day or 8 targets the other day. You don't think the league's gonna figure out a good defensive coordinator? I think Don Zimmer's a good defensive coordinator. I think Jim Schwartz is a good defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz just figured it out late. But you don't figure that people are just gonna figure out, hey, listen, all we got to do is shut down Malik. I love the people that are still like, Devin Singletary is so much better than Saquon Barkley. Well, listen, Devin Singletary had a good game. He had that, I love it because Saquon had that big 60-yard run. And they were like, well, what did he have beyond that? Well, he had another 80-plus yards attached to that with only like 15 carries. And Devin had that big run for 43 and only had 66 yards. So on actually more carries. So, and he has a costly fumble and yeah, okay. Listen, you can hate Saquon Barkley because he left the Giants. You can hate that, but the Giants didn't want him. The Giants didn't pay for him. But for you to sit there and tell me that Devin Singletary is a good, if not the same qualities back as Saquon Barkley, you are on fucking crack.
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
So you need to lay off the pipe just for a couple hours. I love how people just hate players that leave, even though we either sent them away or didn't give them money. Let's see. Saquon Barkley leads the league in rushing. Xavier McKinney has 3 interceptions in 3 games. Julian Love blocked a field goal attempt the other week. I forgot what he did this week. But you know what? We didn't need these guys, and we're going to fault them for leaving the team that didn't want them and having them excel someplace else. Oh, and also Leonard Williams leads the NFL in quarterback hits. Oh, and technically Xavier McKinney leads the league in interceptions. But these guys all suck because they left the team. People need to grow the fuck up. I mean, seriously, you really have to grow up. The Giants didn't want him. The Giants didn't sign him. The Giants let him leave, but they're assholes for leaving. Oh, my God. Who's going to the game on Thursday? I'll be there. And you know it's going to rain if I show up. Because like I said, every time I go out there, it fucking rains. When it's a Dallas game. It's like clockwork. So, but we'll definitely be there. We'll have a breakdown video on Wednesday of the game. We'll do the Sunday live stream on Thursday during our lunchtime stream. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why. That'd be awesome.